Hi, today we're going to talk about learning your choir. Every choir director, in a sense, is like a teacher, and every choir is equivalent to students in the classroom. The teacher's job is to get all of these students to learn the material and be able to graduate to the next grade or pass to the next grade. Choir director does the same thing. There are certain levels that you want your choir to grow, and you need to get to know them to teach them so they can learn and grow and become that choir you desire. Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in today to the Choir Directors Academy. I am your host, Angela Elaine. Do me a favor, like and share this video, but I would prefer that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that every time I do one of these instructional videos, you know that you're about to learn something that you can implement into your music department. Most of the people that I talk to in my videos are newer choir directors or people who may have done it for a short time, and they need some insight as to how to get their choirs on a better level or to perform at a maximum level. All of us have been through this. I have been through this a number of years. I didn't just wake up one day and become an award-winning choir directress. No, it took some time, and I had to learn not only myself, but I had to learn the choir and determine the best way to approach them in order for them to get better at what they are. Enunciation, learning their own parts, learning their voice, soprano, alto, tenor, being able to be flexible no matter who the director is. That takes training and that takes time, and you as the director or directress is the teacher, and you need to know how to communicate that in order to get it over to the choir. And it's really not as hard as we make it out to be. I say that all the time in these videos, but really, truly, it is not as hard as we make of it to be. If you have the ability, a musical ability of some sort, singing, instrumentalism will help, and being an instrumentalist, I said instrumentalism, but an instrumentalist would definitely help you to further your training. But today we're going to go through some steps that I learned that possibly you can kind of modify it and implement it in your own group. Number one, what is the overall attitude of your group? I, in particular, had a mixed group where I had quite a few people who had, kind of like a low self-esteem thing going on. And then I also had those who were high achievers. And, that's opposite ends of the spectrum. And then I had a few people who were in between. They were like the perfect choir member. They weren't too extreme on either side. But the trick is to be able to get the high achievers to be understanding enough to have patience as we try to work the low self-esteemers up to a point. Basically trying to get everybody in the middle where they become, in that little nucleus, where they become the choir that you're dreaming of them to be. But first, assess them. What is their overall attitude? Are they always down on themselves? When they miss the part, are they always like, doing all of that? Or are they the kind, they're just like, well, whatever, I made a mistake. The divas or whatever, the Donalds or whoever they are. Which one are they? You need to be able to tell who they are so you know how to approach them. You can't approach people, if you got a choir that's predominantly of low self-esteemers, you can't approach them the way you would talk to a high achiever. With them, you have to be more direct and more, your words are more tailored to like, okay, bring it down a notch, right? But if you got low self-esteemers, there's a lot more positive affirmation, because every time you correct them with their notes, they may not be singing properly, they may resort to an attitude, they may resort to just beating themselves down. Well, neither one of those are the best, and that's why some people don't like being in the choir. If you're a person, I always tell people, if you're a person that does not like to be corrected on anything, then the choir is not for you, because 10 times out of 10, what you think you heard is not what it really is. And it's my job, just like your teacher in the classroom, it's my job to let you know, no, that's not it. You need to come up, right? So you need to understand the overall dynamics or the overall attitude of your group. This will help you know how to approach them. And last week I also mentioned how to pick songs for a choir, and if they mess up, not focus on the bad, but focus on the good. Knowing how they are also enhances that. Then you won't necessarily be so quick to react to certain things because you know that how that will hamper your performance. Second of all, which kind of goes along with a couple of points I mentioned in last week, is the overall choir musicability. Tip the scales. How many on the low end? How many do you have on the low end? How many do you have in the middle? How many do you have on the left side that are over high achievers? I was in the choir. Most of the choirs that I was in, fortunately, I was able to be in there with most of the people were high achievers or they were on the high side of the medium. So, our choir directors, unfortunately, spend most of his time chopping all of us down the sides. Like, you're not as great as you think you are. Bring it in. You just missed that note. You need to do better. Whereas in the other choirs, he had more low-end achievers, and he had to build it up. When they did sing the note, he made Eureka! He made a big production out of it, which encouraged them to continue to strive to do better. So know their musical ability. How many people do you have on this side of the spectrum? How many do you have on that side? How can we work this together? Maybe you can try this. You pick a song that they all can get, but then let your high achievers hit all the fancy high notes and do all of the fancy runs, or flatten that third, or raise the fifth. Let them add the flavor or the color. Okay? Let them add the color. While you're working with them, let them hit the high notes and do all of the vocal acrobatics, as we call them. Let them do it. All right? So that way they won't become frustrated and we're not doing anything. No, you have to, kind of work that in. You can do it however you want, but I'm just giving you a suggestion that you can take that and modify it your way. But think about it. How can you do it? Think about how it was when you were in school. You had with the different levels of people. What did the teacher do with those that were high achievers? She'd let them go around and help those who were not, to give them something to do. Same thing in the choir. With those who are high, give them something to do. Let them, like I said, let them add the color to it, and you'll be surprised. It'll keep them together. And then at the same time, if you encourage those who are maybe lower achievers, they will aspire to become that. Because let me tell you something. A lot of those people that have that, the low self-esteem thing, they have some beautiful voices. Some of them just had, I would sit there God, if I could just get this person to understand how beautiful their voice is and the abilities that they have within them to sing just like the high achiever. You have it in you. You just need to work at it and cultivate it, and next thing you know, you'll be on that end. And then you have the whole choir in the middle, and you're able to do the kind of music that you like. You need to determine which way they learn best. Remember, when you're teaching, you're the teacher, and they may not necessarily learn the way you do. For instance, you may have some people that you are visual learners, so you have to take the time to be more visual or demonstrative in your directing. Like the song, how great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Didn't you see how great is our God? Well, some people, that's all you got to do. They catch the song, they run, okay? But then there are some people you have to kind of denote it. How great is thy God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Can't you see how great is our God? You have to do that. Whereas you have other people, you don't even have to do that. You just run through the song. That's all you have to do. And they come right in and they singing it. The end result is that you want the whole choir to sound like one. So, but honestly, that determines how good of a director you are, or directress. I'm not leaving the ladies out. But it determines how good a director or directress you are. For the simple reason, if you only have one way of doing things, and I'm going to do it this way, then you're not going to have a good choir, because everybody doesn't learn the same. I just demonstrated that. Everyone doesn't learn the same. But if you take the time, that's what makes a great director, because they take the time to see and to teach. And actually, you're learning yourself. It's building up patience, it's building up understanding, and then it makes you go back and study and try to figure out, hey, what am I doing? Let me figure this out. Because everybody wants their choir to sound great. Everybody wants their choir to do well at every performance. But it takes time, and then you really have to have a teaching heart. And that's why a lot of people, once they've been a choir director for years, you generally migrate over to the ministry because it's the same thing for pastors, for evangelists, for teachers, for Sunday school superintendents, whatever teaching part of any ministry, you have to have patience. And generally, if you think about it, most people who are serving in ministry were at one time choir directors. You know, you learn how to teach. That's basically the stomping ground. And you move from there. But that is one of the three things that I say that you can kind of think about. And there may be other things. And if you know other things that are good that you learned, put them down in the comments. But I just want to share some tips with you, especially those of you who are new and you're trying to make your way and there's nobody there to really talk you through this. You know, the other person may have retired and left or whatever. But I'm just here to give you a few pointers, maybe three, to help you out so that you won't feel that you're alone in this. Somebody has already traveled that road. I hope I said something to help you on today. Listen, do me a favor. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this video, leave it in the comments. Encourage me. Let me know. Just like I'm encouraging you, you can encourage me. Hit the subscribe button and that bell, ding, 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 so that every time one of these instructional videos come, you will be a benefactor of this information. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely day. I love all y'all, and